Hello and welcome to Engaging Midland. I'm your host, Randy Fee. I'm also the Town of Midland's Communications and Marketing Coordinator, for those who don't know me. We have a great show put together today with two great topics. The first is businesses and COVID-19. And after the break, we'll focus on the upcoming virtual Canada Day in the Heart of Georgian Bay event. So without further delay, let's jump into our first topic and I'll introduce our guests. First, we have Scott Campbell, owner of Grounded Coffee Company here on Bay Street in Midland. He's also the chair of Downtown Midland. Welcome, Scott. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Give us an idea. How long have you been involved with Downtown Midland, Scott?
My partner, Nicole, and I moved to Midland in 1995. Prior to that, both my parents are from the area, so I knew it as a summer resident. I moved to Midland in 1995. We opened up a little shop on King Street called the Daily Perk. Ran that to 2002, sold the business at that point, moved back in 2011, and have been running Grounded Coffee ever since. That's, I guess, a combined total of 16 years as a downtown merchant.
Great. And we also have with us Dawn Owen. She's the owner of Panache Spa and Hair Salon on King Street in Midland. Nice to see you, Dawn. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So just to give us an idea, when did you first open Panache Spa Hair and Salon?
Okay. I first opened Panache Spa and Hair Salon in 2009. So I've had my business coming up 9 years. I was further up King Street when I first opened, and then 6 years ago, I moved to a larger premises downtown to open my hair salon as well. So in total 9 years in business.
Great. And last but certainly not least, we have Councillor John Main joining us today. Great to see you, John.
Oh, thanks, Randy. Always a pleasure.
So John, give us a little quick background. What first inspired you to seek out a seat on council back in 2014?
Well, I was, my wife and I moved to Midland. We've not moved to Midland. I'm from Midland, but we bought a house in early 2014. And it was about this time, 6 years ago, that I decided to run for council just to get more involved, bring some of the knowledge I had from my university degree, and just get more involved in what's going on in the community. So it's been a real fun adventure.
Great. Well, thanks, folks. It's nice to know a little bit about all of you. But let's get into the topic, which is businesses and COVID-19. And Scott, I'll start with you. With your situation with Grounded Coffee Company, you were actually able to remain open for the most part when the pandemic first hit Ontario back in March. What changes did you need to make relatively quickly in order to accomplish that?
So when you say we were able to maintain ourselves open, I'll give you a bit of the background. We were operating 7 days a week, total staff of 12, and we were running from 7 in the morning till 5 at night. On March 19th, we went to 2 days a week and had laid everybody off. We made a quick Facebook post about send us an online order. You know, people were and we'd have it ready for that weekend. People were sending us messages. It was madness. Like orders were coming via text message, Instagram, Facebook, phone calls, personal cell phones. It was humbling and terrifying all at the same time, watching all the support kind of roll in. Lots of late nights, early mornings, changing all of our autoresponders to try and direct people to the proper way that we would be able to see the orders and process them in a timely fashion. Like I said, it was pretty overwhelming. From that, we kind of had to bring back some of our pro bakers. Nicole was swamped. She was doing up to 10 times the amount of baking as she would do on a regular day for the 2 days that we were offering delivery. Some days she'd get 4 hours sleep between helping me with all the communications back and forth. She'd go in to bake at midnight, and then I'd come in at 5. We'd start packing orders. We'd work the counter doing deliveries and drop-offs till 4, go back home, eat some dinner, fall asleep, wake back up about 4 hours later, right? We knew we couldn't keep that pace for long because it's just physically impossible. So we shifted from doing only email orders to in the background, we had started to set up a Shopify account. Our son helped us with that, taking pictures, loading in our inventory, helping us streamline the order process and the communications. Spent lots of time on the help desk with Shopify. You know, you're number 132 in the queue. I think there was so many other businesses kind of going through it at the same time. Everybody was like, Shopify was overwhelmed. We were overwhelmed trying to learn new processes. When it did launch, everything that we kind of hoped that platform would do for us actually came true. Like, it really did streamline communications. It helped us get our inventory together. It helped us plan our production because we knew how many things we had to do that. We knew how many things we had to produce for the next pickup day. We also then took all of our existing suppliers that we had been dealing with, like local honey guys, local maple syrup, that never really had too much of a platform other than like on the retail shelves. Now it was online. We could say, hey, these are the suppliers we trust. And I think that our page kind of really well represented everything that Grounded had to offer. And it made people kind of comfortable in knowing that we were still around and we were still able to offer everything that we were doing. The customer count certainly dropped because we had stopped doing the day-to-day. We weren't open 7 days a week. A lot of the regulars would kind of pre-book a whole bunch of baking. And the shift went from, picking up 1 or 2 treats every day to, hey, I'm going to eat 12 for the week. I'm going to put them in my freezer. More people were home, right? They were brewing more coffee at home, so we were selling more retail bags of coffee. The whole world was experiencing the change in dynamics from, going out every day to now staying home every day.
Right. Now, Don, you're on the opposite end of this spectrum. You were forced to close down due to the restrictions on businesses from the provincial government. Walk us through how that impacted you and your staff.
Well, initially it was a bit of a shock. The first sort of couple of weeks prior to closing down, we were implementing, obviously, everyone washed their hands, sanitized their hands. We tried to keep the distance as well, putting our staff and hairstylists in separate rooms, which we were very lucky to have enough room to do that here. It was pretty devastating. Apart from a couple of companies that we have products from, they were really great and supportive. They kept sending us information on what it's going to be like when we do open up. Summit Spa and Salon is a company that we deal with, and they were amazing. So during the time that we were closed, we couldn't do anything. Obviously, my staff were laid off, and it was just a little chaos at first. Everybody kept phoning me up and asking questions, how are they going to get their money? So I had to do research and get help to get my staff the money that they were going to be allocated to from the government to help them survive. A lot of them have young children. They're young therapists and stylists anyway. So it was a bit chaotic, but during that time that we closed, we were having guidelines coming in from companies, as I say. So myself and my husband were in, and we allocated rooms for each of our therapists and stylists. So everybody is completely social distancing. We put all the plexiglass up. We have Lysol, microban. We have masks. We have visors. We literally made sure that I went above and beyond everything that was required for when we open. So obviously my staff priority and our clients, again, were kept safe and well. So when we had the notification on the Monday that we were opening, on the Friday, we hadn't booked any clients. So that week we spent the whole time our staff came in and we were booking clients in, ready to open on the Monday morning. So we're now into our second week of running. Again, very limited to how many clients we can have in. There's certain protocols that are in place. We have to make sure everywhere's sterilized in between clients coming and leaving, and making sure that we're not hair washing only essentially for removing color, etc. And then obviously any particular facials, waxing, we are not allowed to do whatsoever. So it's been a huge, huge change to us.
Right, no doubt. So as many residents are aware and business owners as well, a major portion of our main downtown street is dug up right now as the King Street rejuvenation project is taking place. Has this project compounded the impacts of the pandemic for the downtown businesses? I mean, Don, you guys have just reopened. How has that impacted you as far as the success of that?
Well, I think possibly we're lucky in a sense, if we can say that, by having the construction going on at the same time. If we'd have had the construction next year or last year and then had the pandemic this year, we'd have had 2 years where our sales and clients would have been, it would have been detrimental to our business. We do have access to our front for the spa, so we get our clients to come in that way. We don't want them walking through the building as for social distancing. And then also the back entrance is for the hair salon. We've had to take things off the shelves and make sure that nothing is going to be breaking when the construction comes a little nearer. They did say to me, it's going to be very, very loud. The building is going to shake. Make sure you take pictures off the wall, photographs and things like that, and any glass that you have. So we've had to do a certain amount of preparation work in the front to make sure that goes. But we do have access to our front door, which is great for our spa people. I believe that when the roadworks are going to be actually outside the spa, we will be closed for a week while the pavement is dug up and resurfaced. So at that point, I don't know how we're going to get the clients into the spa. I haven't quite thought of that idea yet.
Okay. Now, John, Scott, from downtown Midland's perspective, have you heard from other business owners on how they're being impacted by the project being underway during the pandemic?
Yeah, I think if I were to maybe phrase it, I wouldn't say that the pandemic, I wouldn't say that the King Street rejuvenation has compounded the problem. I think the pandemic compounded the problem, right? We kind of all knew that the big dig or the King Street rejuvenation was going to happen. A lot of people had made, there's lots of things in place like Love Your Laneways. The BIA had put a ton of money aside for rear entrance facade improvement programs. People were managing their inventory, knowing that this was going to happen. When COVID-19 hit and some of the lockdowns started to happen, I was kind of hearing two sides to the story. There is one side that thought, well, this is going to be over in a couple weeks, and the worst thing that can happen right now is going to be dig up the main street when this is over, because we're going to need time to recover from this short time that we've been closed. Mm-hmm. So maybe we should hold the construction off this year. As 3 weeks went by and there was no clear indication that the lockdown was going to be lifted, that side kind of joined the other side in understanding this is perhaps maybe the best time for the rejuvenation to happen on King Street. There weren't really a lot of people downtown anyways, and people were already trying to reimagine their business. So kind of in a little bit of creative mode, survival mode, to try and figure out how you're gonna make it through. So those are the two sides I hear. Now I just hear kind of the one side. Right. If it had to happen any year, I guess this is it, right? So, and that's the construction, not the pandemic. Nobody wishes that on anybody, but it'll be nice to see King Street redone.
So yeah, full agreement there. So the federal, provincial, and local governments, as well as our EDCNS, so those that don't know, that's our Economic Development Corporation of North Simcoe, among others, have all offered forms of relief and assistance, such as taxes and utilities, wage subsidies, support for reopening businesses. Have they helped? Like, John, I'll ask you first, as a member of council, have you heard business owners or even residents saying that this relief has helped? Yeah,
the one tool that the town has looked at is municipal tax deferment, putting it off for a while, because like we're hearing from many of the businesses downtown, there was many weeks going on where they had zero sales. And so that was it. We know the economic impact is going to be catastrophic. And so we're trying to be as sensitive as we can. And so we're trying to, with all the municipal tools that we have, try to help in any way that we can. And so the town has looked at some different measures, and the BIA with Scott Campbell, he put forth the idea of a digital transition fund for people to rapidly adapt to get their online stores up and running. Some businesses already had their stores quite fulsomely updated, so they were good to go. But a lot of other people, especially high-end stores, boutiques, where they have a lot of people coming in stores, they weren't prepared to start selling stuff online. So they had a lot of people rapidly adapted, and we were trying to give them all the assistance and tools and toolbooks to get their businesses transitioning to online. So that was one specific measure that the BI we put forward to try to help our members.
Right. Now, Scott, Don, from your, as business owners, have these subsidies and relief options helped in your situations?
Yes, definitely. Well, you know, it's especially for the wages, because literally when I closed down, I applied for the 40,000 that the government was giving, and the 10 of that was incredibly useful. I had outstanding invoices and bills I had to pay, and then during the 3 months, I've had bills for obviously hydro, water, etc., things like that. And then plus I needed money for also implementing all the PPE equipment that we've got, and the Lysol and the wipes and goodness knows what that we had to put in place. So that was really advantageous. Also helped me to pay my my HST that was due as well. So of course that was a great. And then this is my second week back at work for my staff. Unfortunately, 3 of them can't come back because there's no childcare. So I'm going to be down about 45% of my income from last year to this year, with staff down as well. And then also the fact that we can only have so many clients in, and hairdressers can't double book. So it is quite worrying. Once I paid my staff the end of next week and a few bills, possibly I might not have enough to pay my full rent for July. So as a small business, cash flow is a huge concern. And this is where I'm going to have to try and build this up again. Hopefully my landlord will be understanding. He's quite an incredible guy anyway.
Right.
So yes, and the wage subsidy is going to be amazing. That I've got my accountant working on at the moment, and that will be put in place for my staff as soon as possible.
Great. Now, Scott, how about with yourself with Grounded Coffee Company? We're getting short on time, but I definitely want to get your thoughts on that.
You know, Grounded hasn't taken advantage of the digital marketing thing, but I know that up to, I think last count was about 17 members of our of the BIA have taken advantage of that, which is great. Have a good conversation with a bank manager. I've been paying attention to all the news blasts that EDCNS is putting out, having conversations with CFIB, other small business owners. You know, Grounded was lucky that we fit into one of the tidy boxes that some of the emergency funds were slotted for. I know that some of them are just outside of that box, and that must be super frustrating. Some of our employees are still not really able to come back. As Don mentioned, you know, some people are relying on childcare, and that's not quite what it is up to. You know, I think one of Grounded's benefits was that being in the food business, we were able to continue. And, you know, Don alluded to it, cash flow certainly helps a business survive. Having that weekly cash flow help pay the bills that were coming due, right?
Right. Well, unfortunately, folks, that brings us to the end of the time we have for this segment. I know we could talk about this a lot longer. I'd like to thank Scott and Don for joining us today. And I wish you guys well operating your businesses and as we progress through this stage. And thanks again for your time. And folks, we'll be right back after this.
Shop local.
Thank you.
Now, yes, shop local for sure.
Okay.
Growing up, I just felt this hatred for myself, and I stopped planning for the future because I didn't think I had one. Without United Way and the generosity of the whole organization, I don't even really know where I'd be.
My husband is a wonderful man and a great father when he's not drinking. I'm so angry he chooses alcohol over us. If he really loved us, he'd stop drinking, right? My counselor suggested I try Al-Anon. I didn't understand why. I'm not the one with the problem, but I'm glad I went. Do you worry about someone's drinking? You are not alone. Al-Anon or Alateen can help. Call 866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
All of the love in this room needs to spread over the rest of this fragile planet.
Welcome back to Engaging Midland. Our next segment is about Virtual Canada Day in the heart of Georgian Bay. We have with us now Sarah Marshall, Recreation and Events Coordinator for the town of Penetanguishene, and Karen Mealing, the town of Midland's Culture Development Coordinator. And Councillor John Main has stuck around for the second segment, which is great. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
So let's get right into it. Karen, tell us, what exactly is Virtual Day or Virtual Canada Day in the heart of Georgian Bay?
Well, unfortunately, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we were trying to figure out how we might be able to continue to hold events. The town of Midland had a grant from the Department of Canadian Heritage, and they allowed us to turn that money into an event that would be able to take place online. So we have a variety of videos that are engaging for families, posted on the culturalalliance.ca website.
Great. So Sarah, can you give us a little bit of perspective as to who all has been involved in planning this event?
Of course. So as residents know, Midland and Penetanguishene alternate years of hosting Canada Day. So this year we decided to start with the two of us. We were pooling our resources to create a new virtual Canada Day. It's not something that either of us had ever had experience with. And then with that, we decided to invite Tiny and Tay as well, making it really the heart of Georgian Bay and including all of our municipalities. With this, we were able to pull on our strengths and really put together one large event, which we hope will be a success for all residents.
Great. Yeah, it sounds like it'll be great. Karen, by bringing all four municipalities in North Simcoe together to plan an event, I mean, must have taken a while to finalize the planning and organizing all the content, right?
Well, we're actually all pretty good at our jobs. We started planning back in April with Penetanguishene. We had a couple of virtual meetings with them. And then we started to bring in Tay and Tiny as well. There have been some emails in addition to those meetings, but we all took on what we're also used to running events. We all took on our tasks, and we put this all together.
Great. Now, John, Midland works with our neighbors on several initiatives. We share some resources, especially with Penetanguishene. From your perspective, how great is it to see that we've partnered up again for this type of event?
Oh, it's really important because we know that, this is not just Midland or Penetanguishene. We all celebrate Canada Day. And so it wouldn't be Canada Day without getting fries in Little Lake Park or spending, the evening watching fireworks at the Champlain Wendat Park in Penetanguishene. So it's great to have everybody together because we already celebrate Canada Day as a big family. So it's great that we still do this virtually.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so Sarah, can you give us some examples of what types of content will be available?
Yeah, so what we've done is we've really tried to include some of the activities that you would normally get to experience. So we do have musicians, magicians, and entertainers such as the Fire Guy. They've all uploaded videos that we will be sharing on that day. But we've also added some new activities. So Penetang Machine Museum is doing pioneer crafts. We have an art lesson with Make a Mess, stories from our local libraries, Canadian animals from the Marsh, and then activities like family yoga and recreation classes that families can follow along with. So the videos range. Some are just 1 to 2 minutes, and then they go as far as 30 minutes, depending on the activity.
Great. So Karen, is there anything more in particular you'd like to point out about the event, of the specific content?
We also have, in addition to online activities, we have a coloring contest for all ages. They can download there's 2 coloring pages. They can download those at the Cultural Alliance website. If they take a photo and email their colored page to canadaday@midland.ca by July 3rd, they'll be entered into a draw to win one of 10 prizes, which are $50 in downtown Midland shopping dollars. We also have this Sunday, we're giving away 100 cookie decorating kits. They go to the farmer's market between 9 and 1 p.m. on this Sunday. So that will be June 28th. The first 100 families will receive their decorating kit. Now we ask everyone to follow physical distancing measures when they go to the farmer's market. And you can't unfortunately reserve a kit, but get there early to pick up yours. Mm-hmm. And also, in addition to the online events, everything will be recorded and available between July 1st and 31st, but at 3 p.m. Dylan Locke will be performing live, and we'll be streaming him live.
Great. So everything's free. And just to be clear, there's no fireworks this year, right?
Unfortunately, no. If people want to download the Snapped Hub app, they can go outside, I believe it's at 9:30, and point their phones towards the sky and watch virtual fireworks.
Okay. Great. So John, one last question. We're getting really tight for time, as we know. Some major events have already been canceled this summer due to the pandemic. How important is it as a community that we have these creative workarounds, so to speak, to allow us to still have some kind of an event?
Yeah, it's really important because people want to come together and celebrate as a community. And so, unfortunately, large gatherings are the first to go, and they will be last to return. And so, we're just still encouraging people to get outside, enjoy the parks, enjoy the trail systems, and enjoy the tastes and sounds and sights of the area. And although we won't be able to gather all together, we can still meet digitally. And we're just still encouraging people to stay safe. Stay away from everybody, but get outside, enjoy the sunshine, and so it's going to be a different Canada Day, but we're adapting as best we can.
That's great. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, folks. I really appreciate you guys all joining me today. I'd like to remind viewers to log on to engagingmidland.ca to find out more information on many projects, including King Street. We have a new time capsule project, and we have an age-friendly community plan where you can take a survey to help improve Midland and make it a more age-friendly community. That's our show for today. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you next time on Engaging Midland.